Today is the 22nd anniversary of World AIDS Day. Since 1983, more than 11,000 people in Wisconsin have been diagnosed with HIV, and more than 3,800 have died. Today, more than 9,000 people are living with HIV/AIDS, and countless others are infected and don't even know it.
And part of the reason for that is the stigma that still surrounds this disease. People don't get tested. They don't talk about it once they find out they are infected. It becomes a prison of sorts. There's a new photo exhibit at Overture Center that its organizer hopes will help open the doors to that prison, if even just a crack.
On the surface, the photographs hanging on the walls of the Playhouse gallery in the Overture Center look like many others. And like most photos, they tell a story. In this case, the stories are extremely personal. 8 different photographers, all living with HIV/AIDS. More than a quarter century into the epidemic, it is still a story difficult, if not impossible, to share.
People actually living with HIV and AIDS, many of us don't feel safe coming out because we hear what people say about us. We hear their fear. We don't want to be rejected. We don't want to lose our jobs. We don't want to lose our apartments and our homes. So it breeds this kind of silence. And it's really hard to progress in anything if there's absolute silence around it.
So Heidi Noss, a patient advocate for the HIV/AIDS Comprehensive Care Program at the UW, HIV positive herself, came up with this: Living with HIV/AIDS, Perspectives Through the Lens. A flyer went up asking for participants, professional photographers helping the amateurs. Breaking the silence. It's not easy.
Only 3 of the participants in this exhibit are using our actual names. I'm also a participant, but the majority are not comfortable using their names, so they have not.
There's still the stigma.
So, huge amounts of stigma, and as a result, huge amounts of silence. So every photo has a narrative that helps the viewer understand where the photographer is coming from.
In their own words, the stigma.
Since my diagnosis, I've always felt tainted and dirty. There's still a lot of belief in the world that those of us with HIV can die at any moment. Romantic interests have expressed concern that they could contract HIV through casual kissing. I know we've come a long way in this area, but we still have a long way to go before everyone knows the facts of HIV and is truly comfortable with casual contact.
In their own words, take your medicine. Silence stifles me.
So this one is called Loss. It says this picture represents a personal friend of mine who died of AIDS. He was fine one day, and 2 days later he was dead. Every day in the back of my mind, I wonder when I'll be next and what kind of death I'll have. People used to die of AIDS so often, and now, honestly, we don't, in our clinic here at UW, we don't expect people to die anymore, and when they do die, it's really shocking.
In their own words, at first, I thought my HIV was a dead end, but after learning more about it, I discovered it was really a new beginning to a more fulfilling and purposeful life.
So this photo is called Support, and your neighbor says, being diagnosed HIV positive set off a cascade of changes and events. While I've lost some friends from disclosure, many have shown undying support and love, strengthening our bond. Through the help of others, my shame and guilt are turning into respect and compassion. And in romantic relationships, my HIV status will be the ultimate quality check of integrity. My HIV diagnosis has given me a stronger appreciation for life and love, forever changing my relationships.
In her own words.
This one is about my mom and how I never really talked much about HIV with her. And my siblings would give her things I'd written or articles about me or whatever. And I really always had a hard time. And I think it was probably somehow my own level of shame or something, that I didn't want to trouble her. I didn't want her to be embarrassed in her small town. And after she died, I was going through her things, and I found this stack of stuff I'd written and things about me that she'd kept. At her funeral, it became clear to me that she had told everybody about my work, and when I was featured in something, they all knew. And I felt terrible that I had sort of put my own stuff onto her and had underestimated her ability to just love me and feel proud of me.
But she did.
But she did. Yeah, and I should have known better.
Anger and frustration, challenge and hope, loss, love, breaking the silence through the lens.
And the exhibit will be on display in the Overture Center through December 12th. And tomorrow night, the UW is holding a World AIDS Day panel discussion with some of the top AIDS researchers in the country. It's at 6 tomorrow night on the Rotunda stage in Overture, followed by a reception in the Playhouse Gallery. It's free, open to the public. And to see all the photos in the exhibit and the photographer's narrative, go to uwhealth.org/HIV care.
Very, very moving and kind of bittersweet. We've come up very far, but we have a long way to go, too.
Absolutely.